Okay, you can get it easily. You remember from programming language, what do we mean by variable, right? We say var x, and then we input the x. So x will give different values, right? For example, if x is integer, then the values could be from 1 until something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we call it variable because the values of x varies. Means it is different in every time. Variable. The verb is varies. Varies means is different from time to time. In the time, for example, x in time t1 is, for example, 1. X in time t2 is 2. The third value of x in time t3 is 3, for example. So, this is what we mean by variable. Means the variables or the concept varies. Varies means variable or get different values or change in value. Okay? Understand what we mean by variable? We take some examples. For example, production unit. If we are working in a company or in a factory, okay, this factory or company produce some products. Okay? Production unit means how many products are produced. For example, per each employee. For example, we are 3 employees. Me and you and our brother. We are 3 employees, okay? I can produce three products. For example, per hour. You can produce 5 products per hour. He can produce maybe 10 products per hour. This is what we mean by production unit. So the production unit is variable. Why variable? Because in my case it is 3. In your case it's 5. In his case it's 10. So production unit is variable. This is an example, okay? Another example, absenteeism. Absenteeism means when the employees are absent from their work. Maybe we are 3 employees in this organization. I have 3 days absent. You have 4 days absent. He has maybe 7 days absent. This is what we mean absenteeism. Absenteeism is also variable because in my case it's 3, in your case it's 5, in his case it's 7. So it's variable. Even for me, maybe this month my absenteeism is 5. Next month maybe my absenteeism will be maybe 6. In the third month maybe it will be 7. So the absenteeism is a variable because it changes its values from time to time. So this is what we call variable. Motivation. Motivation also can be variable. But how can we define it? You know what's motivation? Motivation. Why you register for master degree? Can you explain the answer? Why you register for master degree? I want just to explain the motivation. Why? Have you registered only to get the degree? for people to say, okay, this lady has a master's degree in IT, for example, or you register to get more knowledge, to know more knowledge, or maybe to get high salary.
It's this point.
This is the motivation. This is the motivation. Means the reason behind doing something. For example, I get the PhD because I want to be a doctor. This is my motivation. So I want people to call me doctor. This is an example. Okay? I want people, when I walk in the street, say, oh, this is doctor. So this is my motivation. This is my reason behind doing a PhD. For example, your reason behind doing masters is to get a better job and to get high salary. So this is your motivation. Motivation means the things behind, the reason behind doing something. We can say it in Arabic, it is dawafi. You see how simple in our language if we want to express something? It's very easy because it's our native language. But when you want to use another language, we need to explain a lot. So, motivation can be high and can be low. We can say this person has high motivation to do master in IT. Okay? And the other one has less motivation. So motivation can be measured. Okay?
Yes.
By less or high. So motivation is also a variable because it is different from person to another person. And sometimes it's different to me from time to time. When I started doing the master, my motivation was very high. But after that, when I started studying, my motivation getting less and less. And I wish I could leave. This is just an example. This is not the reality. Okay? So now you understand what we mean by variable. So in your research problem, you should have variables, research variables. You should know what are your research variables. Okay. We have types of variables. The first type called dependent variable. The second type is independent variable. Moderating variable, mediating variable. Do you understand the meaning of all these words? Depending means I depend on something. Okay? Independent means it doesn't depend. Something else is depend on him or her. But himself or himself is not depending on something. Moderating means, we will see after that what we mean by moderating and mediating. Okay, the first one, dependent variable, or short for it is DV, is of primary interest to the researcher. When we study any research problem, our main or primary interest will be the dependent variable. So this is the main or the primary variable in our research. The goal of the research project is to understand, we do the research in order to understand, predict, explain the variability of these variables. So the focus of our study is on the depending variable. Okay, so this is the primary variable. This is the main variable. We need to understand this variable. We need to predict. Predict means to know the value without any information. Have you heard about predict or prediction? Hmm? Yes, expect. Predict means expect. Or توقع, تنبؤ. So we need to understand, we need to predict, we need to explain the variability of this variable. How this variable changes the values from time to time. Okay? The other one is the independent variable. Influences the dependent variable in either positive or negative way. You see, it is independent. Okay? But it influences the first one. Influence means affect. Okay? It affects or influences the dependent variable in either positive or negative way. If it is in positive way means if the independent variable increase, then the dependent variable increase. This is a positive. But if the independent variable increase, the dependent variable decrease or get lower values, then this is what we mean by negative way. The variance in the dv or dependent variable is accounted for by the independent variables. We see some examples. If we have this relationship, number of rejects is dependent variable. Availability of reference manuals is independent variable. What do we mean by these two things? When we say independent variable influence dependent variables, means independent variable affects the dependent variables in positive or in negative way. If the reference manuals are available, then the number of rejects will be less. But if the reference manuals is less or is not available, then the number of rejects will be high. Okay, first we need to understand the situation. Okay, let's have a factory. Okay, we have a factory. This factory is producing some products. Okay, we have different employees. Some of employees need to see the reference manuals. You know what's the reference manuals? The instructions. They are producing some pieces and they need to look for the diagrams to get the pieces or to build the product. Okay? So every time he needs to look for the diagram in order to do the product exactly or in the proper way. Okay? Some employees, they are lazy, so they just do it from their mind because they say, okay, I looked for the diagram previously, so it is now in my mind, so just I will do it without referring to the manual. I don't need to go to the manual, okay? So they do the product by themselves, from their minds. So sometimes the product is okay, but many times the product is not running well, so it is defective. Okay? Number of rejects means the product will be rejected. Why? Because this product is not working well. It is defective.
Doctor, what's the type of relation between them?
The relation is the availability of reference manual. If the person look in the manual, then his product will be, of course, of sure, the product will be okay. Then the number of rejects will be less. We will not reject it.
No related.
They are related. Okay, how can we explain it? The reference manual is available. Available means is there, behind us. We can refer to it. Is not available means I don't need to look at it. If the employee doesn't need to look at that manual and do it from his mind, then the product maybe work well, and sometimes many of times will be defective, will not working well. Okay, so it will be rejected. We will not accept this product. Okay, you get it now? You understand it?
Yes.
Okay. But if the employee look at the reference manual all the time, so he will do the product exactly, okay, in a proper way, and then the number of rejects will be few. It will not be rejected because the employee just do it like the reference. Okay? So this is the dependent variable, means it depends on something. The number of rejects depends on the employee. If he look at the reference manual or he doesn't look to the reference manual, okay? The independent variable affects the dependent variable or influence the dependent variable. If we go back to the definition, the independent variable influences the dependent variable in either positive or negative way. In positive way, we say if the employee look at the reference manual, then the number of rejects is few. But if the employee does not refer to the manual, then the number of rejects will be high. You understand? The third type is moderating variable. Moderator is qualitative. Qualitative means like gender, like race, like class. These are the types of qualitative moderator. Okay, you will understand it from the example. Or quantitative can be qualitative or quantitative. For example, level of reward. Variable that affects the direction and all strength of relation between the independent and dependent variable. Okay. In the previous example, we have dependent variable and we have independent variable, and we have relationship between them. Okay? This is the relationship in the middle between dependent and independent. The moderators, which is this variable, affect the relationship between independent and dependent variable. So it's affect not on the variables, it is on the relationship between them. Okay? For example, if the employee has interest to look at the reference manual, then the number of rejects will be few. If he has interest, he likes to refer to the manual. Every time he do his work, he likes to refer to the manual. So he's